Hey guys, it's Jen, and I'm here with a process video for Freckled Fawn, and I am partaking in the challenge that's going on right now to make a large shape and cover it with washi tape, or make a large shape out of washi tape, trying to kind of bust some of your stash of washi tape. And I don't know if this really counts because I am doing letters instead of a shape, but I'm going to use the February kit to do this, and I'm going to use these washi stickers. And I thought the colors of them worked perfectly with these photos because there's orange going on here, a bit of purple and pink, and I just think that these colors really work well with all of the colors that the kids are wearing in the photos. So I went ahead on my silhouette and cut out the letters for to spell out my title, which is Miss You Already. So I'm going to cover the words Miss You in the washi tape, and then the word already is one that I just hand lettered and then traced in Silhouette Studio. And I am just going to keep that one white. And I think I'm going to put it all on this wood grain background. I have a couple of other papers pulled out that I was thinking about using. These are all Felicity Jane papers, by the way. But I'm thinking I'm going to go with the dark wood grain. I like that, and I like the contrast against the photos. I think it looks really nice, and I'm trying to move away from always doing a white background. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and decide now to use this dark wood grain and start working on this layout using washi tape to cover my shapes here. And if you weren't worried about wasting washi tape, you could put it on your paper and then cut it out on your silhouette. But I thought I would just use little pieces and place it right onto the letters and then just trim around them. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to speed it up so that it's not painstaking.
Okay, so I'm going to start by just pulling all of these little pieces off of my silhouette cutting mat, and then I'm going to use the washi strips that came in the Freckled Fawn February kit, and I'm just choosing kind of the reds and oranges, and I'm going to put the strips across each of the letters. So I'm just placing down one strip on the top, lining it up with the top of the letter, and I'll do that to each of the letters, and then I'll place the next strip right below it. And so I'm using that cute orange floral, and I added in a pop of aqua, and then I'm doing the red hearts at the bottom. And so I wanted to keep it mostly to the oranges and reds, and then have that little pop of aqua in there. And so what I do after that is just use my nonstick scissors. Those are from Close to My Heart. I love those things, to trim around each letter. So I just flipped it over and then hand cut. And these are nice precision scissors, so they get into those tiny little corners. And I really recommend getting some precision tip scissors if you don't have any. So once I did that, I decided I wanted to keep the little branding strip at the bottom of my paper because it has that same aqua color, and so I cut 1/2 inch off of the top of the paper instead of on the bottom. And I'm going to play up that orange floral pattern, and so I'm taking some of the journal cards that are available in the Freckled Fawn shop, and I'm cutting out the florals from them. There are 2 cards that have the floral. One has kind of a tan background, and then one's a quote on top of the floral on white, and I'm going to use both of them. And I think that they look fine together, even though one has a white background, because I put some of the tan with the white, and then I have white in my title with the word already. So there you can see them all cut out, and that's kind of where I'm going to place them, at the top right and the bottom left of my photos. And I went ahead on my typewriter and just typed up my journaling on some white cardstock, and I'm just trimming that with my little guillotine trimmer, which I love. It cuts up to 6 inches, and I just got it at my local office supply store. And so I'm just trimming off the edges so that there's not too much white on the end of each of the strips of journaling. And now I'm going to arrange my letters. So I wanted to make sure I got my journaling typed before I glued down my letters, because I want there to be an equal distance between the journaling and the bottom and the title and the top, because this is going to be a fairly symmetrical and I don't know, it's more structured of a layout. So I'm just getting my photos down, and I'm placing them right next to each other with a little gap in between instead of overlapping them like I often do. And I will have the word already dipped down over the photos, and because the group photo on the right has so much white space at the top, it's the perfect space for the Y to dip down into. And I I like when I'm doing a structured layout, I like to have a few things on it that are not structured. So the word already is in a scripty, fun font, and so that helps to soften it up a little bit. And then the florals have soft edges too, so that helps as well. So I'm putting some thin foam squares on the back of my letters because I want to pop them up. And so I'm just using, again, those same nonstick micro tip scissors to cut my foam pieces down so they fit onto the letters. And it was pretty simple to do. And I'm just putting that on the back of every single letter. And I like using thin foam adhesive because it gives you a little bit of dimension, but not out of control. There are some foam dots that are so dimensional that I feel like it's just a little too much. So this doesn't like draw away from the layout. It just gives a little bit more interest. So the words miss you are going to fit it's going to just fit the width of the photos, which I love. I'm going to go ahead and put down my journaling strips, and I'm centering them below the photos, and I'm not leaving a ton of space in between each strip. I just want it to be kind of all together. And so I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a fine line bottle. Those bottles come empty, and then you can fill them with whatever liquid glue that you like. And I am using the 20 gauge, which is the really fine tipped one, but there's also an 18 gauge, which I use for a thicker mixed media adhesive from Thermal Web, and I like that too. So here I am going to pop up this little piece with the quote on it, and I use those same thin foam tabs, and I'm just layering it over the other floral piece. And then this floral piece, I'm going to wait until I get the rest of my title on. I decided that I wanted the word already to rest on the top of the photos, not overlap it too much. So just the Y dipping down overlaps it a little bit. So I'm going to make sure I move my letters from miss you up a little bit so that there's enough space for me to do that. And so it ends up being closer to the top than I had realized. And so I'll put some more stuff at the bottom to make sure that there's kind of an equal distance between, again, the journaling and the bottom of the wood grain, and then the letters in the top. And when I do a word like this that I want to fit in a certain space, I'll do the end letters first. So I glued down the U and the M, and now I'm filling in with the rest of the letters. And then I can see that there's still a space between the words miss and you, but I made sure that it spanned the length that I wanted it to. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the word already because I have the miss you up on foam squares. I want the D and the L, the ascenders of those letters, to rest on top of the words. And so I didn't want to put any glue on them because they have to rest a little higher than the rest of the word. And I decided to put a little piece of one of those gorgeous, luscious, puffy border strips underneath my journaling. And then I was thinking I needed one more thing. I thought of putting this little chipboard heart on top of my puffy sticker, and so I put it down there. I'll actually end up changing my mind about that. I just kind of wanted to bring some orange or something down there, but I changed my mind and I will move that later. I decided to use some of the little stickers that look like buttons, and I'm just using some crochet thread to, I'm going to use 3 button stickers, and I'm going to thread the 2 smaller ones. I'm just going to tie knots on the tops of those, and then I'm going to use one that's a little bit larger that has 4 holes, and I'm going to just thread it through the holes on that one. So you'll see that here in just a second. And then I put a little foam dot on the back, and that helps hold the thread on the back, and it also helps to pop it up. So I put an orange one kind of in that space where the leaves and the flower poke out, and I like to nestle things in like that because it makes things feel like they belong together. And so I'm sorry that you can't see what I'm doing, but I just threaded that red button, and so you can see that. And now I'm thinking it might be nice to bring in an aqua colored button, and so I'm debating on that, or I'm trying to decide if I want to do 2 more at the bottom or just 1. And I decided to do just 1, and I'm going to do the aqua. So I'm tying a little knot in that one, and I'll put some foam adhesive on the back of that one as well. And then I'm going to place it down at the bottom. And I decided to move it from there up to, or from above the flowers to more towards the left of them, and I like it better. So that is pretty much going to finish it. I'm going to stamp the date with my roller date stamp and some white ink, and that is going to be it for this one.
Okay, so here's the finished layout. Now, the challenge was to make a shape out of your washi tape, or to use a bunch on a shape. I feel like I cheated just a little bit, but I think it still works, and I think this is a fun way to use washi tape, so you should definitely give it a try. And I like the way that the flowers turned out. It's nice to have a kit like this because everything coordinates, and so I have a bit of that same flower on the washi tape, and then I had it on some of those little cards, and then if I needed more, I definitely had some on some of the other embellishments too. So that was fun to incorporate. I thought about incorporating some of these epoxy or enamel hearts too because they're super cute, but I just didn't end up needing more than what I already have. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you'll enter the challenge. I think you have about a week to enter that. I'll leave a link to where you can check it out in the video description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.